Okay everyone, into my hook vise there I've got a number 14 3x long streamer hook. Don't worry about it being a streamer hook, it's got plenty of buoyant materials that'll hold it up on the top. And to that I'm going to add some 6/0 light Cahill tying thread. And I'm going to attach that at midpoint of the hook shank here and work my way back toward the point. I call this the Swedish because, well frankly, it's two reasons. Everything's blonde on it, and the other reason is I'd first seen it demonstrated on a Swedish YouTube channel, so I thought I'd bring it to you, my Canadian viewers, and but give it the original credit. Now back here I'm forming a dubbing loop with my dubbing loop tool, which is also my bodkin. It's a homemade device, but you can use any dubbing loop tool you have. And I'm creating a dubbing loop about 3 inches long. And I'm going to bring my thread back forward to about the 3/4 point on the hook shank, right about there. Okay, now what I do with my CDC feather is I'm going to tear off the fibers on one side, about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of the fibers there, and I get them stacked in my fingers there. And what I'll do is I'll tuck them into my dubbing loop here now, slide them in, but I just barely tuck in the butt ends. I hope you can see that on the camera. It's a lot longer on the fuzzy end than on the butt end. Now I'm going to do that a few times. It's because I want that fuzzy end to be the more prominent part of the dubbing on the fly. And dubbing of the body. So again, just the butt ends just barely tucked in there. And do that again. I just want to make sure I have enough to go up the body of the whole fly. And it's okay to have a little extra. Okay. And I think I'll do that one more time. Just barely tucking those butt ends in there and sliding them up to the previous bunch. Okay, so now I begin spinning my dubbing noodle and trapping all those fibers in there, those CDC fibers in there, and brushing them up a little bit as I get them trapped. I noticed anything that's awry, out of sorts, like this little piece of stem here, just cut that out. That's tucked to the stem end anyway. Now I'll begin to wrap my noodle forward, and as it begins to bunch up, the fibers start to show as their fuzziness. I just like to stroke them back with my left hand. I get them stroked back there. This stuff is so highly floatant, it's terrific for dry flies, and it's perfect for a caddis as it sort of simulates the body, the soft colors of the body, and the legs and antennae of a caddis fly, an adult caddis fly. I'm just bringing that forward as far as I can with the dubbing noodle that I've got there. Okay, and I'm stroking those fibers back. Now what I'll do is I'll secure that, wrap my thread around it once, and then over the hook, around it again twice and over the hook, around the third time and over the hook, securing that in place. We'll cut off the tag end of the dubbing noodle now that's no longer needed. And I just stroke those fibers back and out of the way. Now I'm going to bring my thread forward, covering the hook shank up to the eye, because I don't want to spin the elk hair. I want it to lie flat on the top of the hook. Now the elk hair, I'm going to cut off a tuft of that, not too large. Large enough to make a decent wing, but not so much as to overwhelm the fly. And I'll stick that tips first into my stacking tool. Drop those in there, and then give it a series of taps on the table to align those tips. Once I feel I've got them aligned, they come out of the tool, and they're mostly aligned. To take off the odd one that didn't slide down with its brothers. Now I'm going to tie those in a little longer than the body, just a little bit longer. What I'm going to do is give that a loose loop, a second loose loop in front of it, a third loose loop in front of that, and then come back and then start cinching down. And I want those fibers to primarily stay on top of the hook there. as they are now. I'm going to gather these fibers up and back, the tag ends, with my left hand, and then give those a snip. Tidy up the head of the fly there. Just clean up some of these errant fibers that are sticking out all over the place. And just clean that up a little bit. One lone one there that wants to stick up and away. And then I'm going to finish a nice head on there with a whip finish. And we'll cinch off that whip finish and give it a cut, and then we're going to tidy this fly up one tiny little bit here, and we're going to seal the ends of this elk hair with a lighter. And we don't want to bring it in too close, we just give it a little touch, keeping our distance. There we go, and we've got a nice sealed up elk hair caddis, blonde, and got a couple loose fibers there I'm pulling away, and that thing will float like a cork all day. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel if you haven't done so already. And you can please feel free to share this video with your friends. I'm glad to see people sharing this one around. I hope you enjoy your tying season, and I look forward to seeing you on the water. Bye for now.